At the banquet, the female intern grabbed the fancy meal that had just been served and smeared it right across her manager's face, then slapped her twice for good measure. Honestly, no one could have talked me into staying at that job. It all started not long before that, when, because she was just an intern, her supervisor told her to front everyone's meal money and said it would all be reimbursed after her internship ended. But when her internship was over and she went to finance, she was told the meal reimbursements had already been sent to everyone's bank cards. That's when she realized the whole thing was just a nasty setup to bully the intern, so she turned right around and confronted her boss. Who held a knife to your throat and made you pay? You wanted to suck up to us. Wasn't that your choice? I looked at her smug face, let out a cold laugh, and acted like I was taking the loss. The next day, the company's biggest client was coming in. Lucy wanted her kickback, so she made me order lunch again. I said yes on the spot, then turned around and ordered a dozen empty takeout boxes into the conference room. With 5 minutes left before lunch break, people all over the office were already calling my name. Lucy saw I wasn't reacting and knocked on my desk with a frown. "Why are you just sitting there? Hurry up and order lunch already!" She was my direct supervisor and the woman in the whole company who loved bossing me around the most. On my first day, I casually helped her pick up takeout once, and after that, ordering food, picking up packages, even changing the water jug all somehow became my job. At first, it wasn't like I never thought about saying no, but every time I showed even the slightest hesitation, Lucy would hit me with, "New people are supposed to run errands. We all went through this." Since she was my boss, I didn't dare cross her, so I just swallowed it. What shocked me most was that my coworkers never paid me back when they asked me to pick things up for them. Every time I sent a payment request in the group chat, they'd pretend not to see it and brush me off with, "It's barely any money. Sending it now is a hassle. Just get reimbursed through finance when your internship ends." And I believed them. I believed them for a full 3 months. During those 3 months, I covered meal costs for everyone on our team. "Anna, are you deaf? Can't you see everyone's waiting on you?" I clenched my teeth and slowly stood up from my desk. Like it was the most natural thing in the world, my coworkers started handing me their order screens. "Get me hot and sour rice noodles and add a fried egg. And get me an iced Americano too." Half an hour later, I set all the food down on their desks, but not one person mentioned paying me back, and nobody even said thanks. It was like all of this was just supposed to be my job. I kept telling myself that as long as I got hired full-time, everything I'd done would be worth it. That didn't last until the final day of my internship, when I organized every payment record from the past 3 months, and took it all to finance. Lisa from finance took the stack of receipts from me, her eyes full of surprise. "Miss Anna, if I remember right, you're still an intern, aren't you?" "Yes, Lisa. These receipts are all meal costs I fronted for my coworkers. They told me I could come to you for reimbursement after my internship ended. But the system shows your team's meal allowance was already reimbursed a long time ago. Didn't your team lead tell you? The company sends meal stipends to everyone's payroll card every month. There's no extra reimbursement process." "But I paid all that money out of my own pocket." "That's your personal decision. It has nothing to do with the company." I stood there in the finance office, speechless for a long time. Lisa glanced at me. "The company's process is already complete. The meal stipends have already been paid into everyone's bank accounts. There's no way we can reimburse you a second time. If you want your money back, your best bet is to talk to your coworkers." I stared at the payment records on the screen, barely believing what I was seeing. So they really had been getting meal stipends every month? They'd already collected that money and still kept making me buy their food. It was obvious. They thought I was just an intern and easy to push around. When I got back to the office, Lucy was touching up her lipstick and scrolling on her phone. I stood in front of her desk, not even sure how to start. But when I thought of the text from my landlord demanding rent, I forced myself to speak. "Lucy, I just went to finance." "And?" "Lisa said our team's meal allowance gets paid onto everyone's payroll card every month, so the company can't reimburse me." The moment I finished speaking, Lucy fixed her eyes on me. "So?" I was scared, but I still said what I needed to say. "I want you to have everyone pay me back. I already totaled it all up. It comes to $13,154.50 when." I honestly thought that even if she was upset, she'd at least know she was in the wrong. "Anna, what exactly are you trying to say?" "Lucy, I just want my money back." The second those words left my mouth, Lucy shot up from her seat. "Anna, you're just a tiny little intern and you actually dared to go snooping around finance? Cut the crap. You went behind my back to talk to them because you were scared we wouldn't pay you, right? It's barely any money. Did you really have to keep track of every cent?" "See, I told you. She acts all innocent, but she's sneakier than anybody. When people asked you to grab things, that was us giving you a chance, helping you fit into the team faster. And what did you do? Ran off to finance to complain." "I wasn't complaining. I just want my own money back. Is that really a problem?" "Anna, nobody ever forced you to do any of this, did we? Wasn't it all voluntary? Who put a knife to your throat? Sending payment requests in the group was one thing, but coming all the way to my desk to ask for money? Seriously? You're the first intern I've ever seen act like this." I looked at the gloating faces all around me and unconsciously clenched my fists. Every single time, they were the ones who told me to front the money and said finance would reimburse me after my internship. And now, with just a few words, they wanted to erase 3 months of money I'd paid out. "Anna, get this straight. You haven't even gone full-time yet. An intern running errands and buying lunch for senior coworkers? Isn't that exactly what interns are supposed to do?" "But I make less than $5,000 a month. That money really matters to me. I can barely afford rent right now." "That's your problem, not ours. And as your supervisor, let me teach you a lesson today. Don't bring your personal problems into the workplace." Right then, a message suddenly popped up in the department group chat. "Hey, did you hear? This client is a big deal. Even the chairman is coming down to receive them in person. Then we'd better make sure tomorrow is perfectly arranged. We cannot mess this up. A bad feeling instantly crept over me. Sure enough, the very next second, same as always, you're handling lunch. I lowered my eyes to the message in the group chat. Business lunch for 6, standard over 500. I only glanced at the amount, and my heart was already pounding. Anna, I'm talking to you. Are you deaf or what? I looked up at my team lead. So I'm fronting the money again this time? Ha 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 ha. Well, yeah, who else? But if you add up everything I have on me right now, it's only a few dozen bucks. Could you maybe front it first? Anna, don't say I didn't warn you. Your internship isn't over yet. My evaluation alone counts for 40% of your conversion review. And don't act so wronged. That's how the workplace is. Young people taking a few hits is normal. Okay, no problem. That's more like it. That's what an intern should look like. After that, the office went quiet again. I sat at my desk and slowly unlocked my phone. My landlord's rent reminder was still sitting there on the screen. I used to think if I just held on and swallowed the unfairness, I'd get through it. But now I finally understood. Some people don't stop when you take a step back. They just push even harder. The next morning, the second I got to the office, I could tell the vibe was different. Normally the place was half dead before 9, but today it was already packed early. Lucy had even done her makeup extra heavy. The moment she saw me, she told me to reorganize the client materials and meeting outline and put them on her desk. And don't forget lunch either. It had to be delivered before noon. I looked at the huge stack of materials on my desk and almost laughed. From prepping documents to handling reception to arranging lunch, basically every task most likely to go wrong had been dumped onto me. If anything slipped, I'd be the one taking the blame. Yesterday, when Lucy threatened me with my conversion review, I already knew she was up to no good. But I hadn't expected her to go this far. She didn't just want me to front the lunch money. She wanted to dump every bit of risk from the whole client visit onto me too. Carrying that giant stack of materials, I went alone to the break room and started doing the math in my head. If I paid again today, forget rent. I wouldn't even be able to afford food next month. But if I didn't pay, Lucy would tank my conversion. No job, no apartment. At that point, I had nowhere left to go. At exactly 10, the clients arrived right on time. The chairman personally came downstairs to greet them. Lucy was all smiles, bending over to hand them materials, practically groveling as she led them into the conference room. I followed behind with coffee, handed out the documents one by one, then backed into the corner to take notes. A few times, Lucy secretly glanced at me, clearly pleased with how cooperative I was being today. She really thought she had me under control. What she didn't know was that the moment she threatened me yesterday, I'd already decided to go down swinging if I had to. At 11:30, the meeting was wrapping up and the client was clearly interested in the proposal. "Mr. Jack, it's getting late. Why don't you stay and grab a bite with us?" The client was happy to play along. Lucy loved showing off, so she immediately turned to look at me in the corner. "Anna, the lunch I told you to order yesterday, did you get it taken care of?" The next second, everyone's eyes were on me. I glanced at my phone and slowly stood up. "It's here downstairs." "Then what are you waiting for? Go get it!" I slowly got to my feet and walked out, obedient like some well-trained student. The elevator doors opened, and the delivery guy was already waiting in the lobby. I walked over to him. "Everything packed the way I asked?" "Yep, all set." "Where's the receipt?" "Right here." I put away the receipt and led the delivery guy upstairs. I pushed the cart right to the conference room door. Lucy jumped up fast, greeting everyone like, "Come on, everybody worked hard all morning. Let's eat first and talk after." "Lucy, finance said this order is pretty expensive, so the person in charge has to sign off on it first." Lucy froze for a second, then clamped a hand over my mouth and shoved me toward the door. "Let the leaders eat first. We'll talk about reimbursement later in private." But the second I stepped away, the next moment someone shouted, "Why are all these lunch boxes empty? No download needed. Click the link to watch the full story."